Hi and welcome to my second part of the tutorial Match Moving in Footage1. Now we're gonna add some 3D objects to our scene, and we will import at first the Footage1 data to get the right camera. So click on Max script and run script. This is because Footage1 exported the camera solve as a Max script. So navigate where you save the Max script and select it and click open. To see what's going on, right click on the name of your active view, select views, camera 1. In that way, now the generated camera from Footage1 is your active camera in 3DSMAX. Right click on camera and select show background. In that way you can see what's going on there and you're ready to place the object where you want it to have. But before doing this, right click on camera 1 again and click show save frame. You don't have to do this, but I'm always doing this when doing things like match moving or something like that, so okay. Now, select the object you want and place it somewhere in the scene. You're able to see what's going on there and where you will place your object because you added it as a background for the camera 1 view. Okay, so select the object you want and make a test render. So it's looking not too bad, but it's really not the result we want to get. So yeah, as you can see, the camera is moving, it's animated pretty good. Should follow along the original camera very good. All in all, this is no modeling tutorial, so play around with the settings, with the objects, do whatever you want. Okay. Now, we want to add some shadows to the scene. For this we have to add a plane to the ground to simulate the ground of the real scene to cast shadows. Okay, so now we're gonna add some lights to simulate shadows. So click on the light panel and choose standard lights and target direct. I just like the target directs because the shadows are pretty good, much better than the shadows like Omni or something like that. Scale the target direct to increase or decrease the area light and shadows will be simulated. And okay. Now move the light in the position where the light of our real scene comes from, so where the sun comes from. It comes from the left side, somewhere there. Okay. Place it and render out. So okay, looks pretty good. Now we want to add some shadows. So go to the modifier panel and turn on shadows. And for the shadow type, you're gonna select select ray trace shadows at first. Render out. Okay, the shadows got cut off a little bit, so we're gonna scale the ground plane now. Right click scale. Okay, this should be good enough. Yeah. Now the shadows got not cut off anymore. Go to the modifier panel of the light again, and now you have to play around with the settings of the shadow parameters. Now play around with the settings till you get the right shadows. Render it out and watch. Okay, I think shadows are pretty hard, just a little bit lighter. So go to the shadow parameters and the density. You can move the density down, maybe on 0.6. Let's try this. Went out. Okay, that's much lighter than before. Okay, now we want to see what's really going on there and how this looks when we composite this. Press M, select empty material slot, click on standard and choose matte and shadow. Click OK. And now drag this material on your ground plane. And what this material does is just cast shadows, nothing else. Okay, you might not see this because it's all black. So go to rendering, environment, and click on none and choose bitmap. And then select the background image you have for your camera 1. And that way, if you render out now, you're gonna see how that looks when it's composite. And you see, okay, the shadows now seem to be a little bit hard. Okay, let me render this out again to show you the results. Okay, you see the edges of the shadows are very hard instead of the edges of the real shadows in our real scene. So go to the settings of the light, choose shadow type area shadows, and now let me render it out to show you what this does. Okay, select the viewport, render out. Okay, you see the edges now are pretty smooth. Okay, go into the area shadows parameters and select the shadow integer to 7 and the shadow quality to 72. Render out again. And now you're gonna see that the edges are very smooth and this really looks good. Maybe the shadow is a little bit too dark, but okay, play around with the settings and getting the white light and shadows for you. Okay, now go to rendering and render setup. And now you want to render out the active time segment, so go time output, active time segment. Okay. The problem is that the width and the height of the output does not match the width and the height of your real video, so it will come to complications when compositing in After Effects. So maybe go to After Effects or somewhere else where you can read out the real width and height. Select the scene you're adding some elements to and read out what real width and height it have, and then input it in the width and height setup here inside of 3DSMAX. Okay, it matches now, so pretty good. Now go down to render output, click on files, and now choose where to save it. I just want to save it at the desktop, and I want to save it as say T-port render. Okay. Now choose at file type PNG image file. The PNG file type will generate a sequence of files, so we should save it in a folder. We will use PNG file sequence because the alpha channel will be included and it's a pretty small format. Click on save, leave everything by default including the alpha channel, and okay, now you could render out, but we want to composite in After Effects, so we have to set another background, so not the video but the color. So click on this color swatch here and change it to something like white. Okay. Now you could render it out, but to make it realistic I want to add some motion blur. So select your object, right click and choose object properties. Now in the motion blur panel click on image and hit OK. That way it would look much more realistic than if you want to it. Okay, so now you can click render and he will render out the scene. Yeah, see you later in the third part of my tutorial.